dear.
Yeah.
Would that be easier, Caitlin?
I think so. Maybe it can't hurt. No, it's going okay. Pretend all I had to send home 5 emails to parents from my classes the other day. Because 5 of the boys just would not stop talking, would not stay in their seats, would not even pretend to be working. Which is a bit crazy.
Okay.
Sorry.
Let's forget about that.
But you've got on with drama, haven't you?
Yeah,
Drama's fun.
Who's your drama?
This girl. We all laugh about that for a minute, but yes, she's kind of low, a little bit weird, but like she's a drama.
It's actually a prerequisite. The first drama teacher school, they just pick out the ball, you just go, man, go.
Yeah, I definitely was too normal for my drama class at uni. I was like, oh man.
Yeah, we got in and she was already talking about like freedom of movement, and I was like, okay,
Let your body move.
yeah. I see
It
what
was
you're
truly
saying.
formed the feng shui of the room.
Yeah.
What is it about the lights? You're allowed to move, but you're not allowed to touch anything.
Do not touch anything. I will find your parents if you break anything.
I will find your parents.
She was telling us how much all of the like lights and sound systems
Oh,
cost,
yes,
and she was
yes.
like, "You touch it, I will find somebody." And then literally after she finished her talk, Cooper, who's like super annoying, jumped up and like tried to hit the light.
Oh,
It was too short, and he missed it. She screamed at him. It was like, dude, seriously, she talked about it for 20 minutes.
And then you've had to do what? Verbal and
Physical offers.
physical offers.
Ah, yes.
No, not oh yes. Not oh yes.
What's a physical offer, Caitlin?
We had to do this like improv thing where like
Did you do the bus stop?
This is an adventure beneath Ravenswood is going to be set in the 20s, give or take. So it's 20s era. So Cthulhu has modules. You can do modern day Cthulhu. You can do 1950s Cthulhu. There's a whole range. I like 1920s. It's kind of modern enough that people know stuff about the 20s, but not modern enough that you can Google everything. Because you'd have to be able to interrogate the dark web to find stuff about Eldritch abominations. Otherwise, you'll just get loads of random conspiracy nutcase shit with no use of anything at all. Because Cthulhu is clearly responsible for everything that is going on in the States. Because I can't explain it any other way.
Why vote for the lesser of two evils when you can vote for the greater?
Exactly that. You know, Hastur, the man in yellow, the orange is a version of yellow. Who knows? So we'll sort of work through making up some characters, and then you can work out how on earth your characters are going to relate to everything. So rather than do points by, which creates a really nicely flat, balanced party, that's no fun. That's no fun. Let's roll for some characters. So the way that this works is that all of it is largely the same D&D, but you also have size, which is relevant because humans are here on the general scale of creatures that you encounter, and everything else is bigger. So the premise of Cthulhu as a system is largely that you are all mundane, normal human people doing human jobs who, for whatever reason, best known to your humanness, is slightly tweaked in the interest of something odd and bigger, and then goes largely insane trying to unravel that weirdness while the world ends around you. So really very much like living in America in the modern day. Okay, so we'll start with size. So size is Sis on your character sheet. Sis, which is 2d6, and then multiply by 5. Or add 0 and halve it, depending on what's easy. Caitlin, yes, this is maths today. 2d6.
This is for the kids, 2d6.
Mm-hmm. 2d6 times 5, Caitlin.
Okay.
I rolled exactly the average.
Nice.
Divided by 2, you said?
No, so 2d6
Times
by
five.
5 times 5.
Oh god. There's actual math in this.
Or add a 0 and then halve it.
Where's size?
Sis.
And we put that in the red box.
And put it in the normal, the first box. Yeah. So size is a sort of combined value that sort of amalgamates height and weight into a single number. So it's
That's your size. So my size is 4.
you can use a calculator if you wish to do so. So that's fine. So size averages height and weight into a single number. It's the stat you'd use to squeeze through a gap, see over a wall, whose head is the one that's sticking up if you're all trying to hide behind a bush and one of you's 6'9". So your biggest creature would have more power in attacks. The smallest ones would basically have better hiding because that's when you would be using that as a stat. Okay.
Sorry.
Yep. No, you're good.
In terms of where we put the stats on the sheet.
Yes.
Regular.
In regular. So that's
I
your
got 55. So 55.
55. Yeah. So if you have to do a regular difficulty hiding behind a bush check, you'd have to roll below a 55.
You're massive.
It's
just like the Hulk.
Yeah.
So you'd have to roll below a 55. No, because it's
No.
not necessarily. So if you're talking about something like stealth, this is why it's a single number, you're rolling below the stat. So stats go up to 99 particularly for some of the creatures, and you can develop stats up to 99. So you're rolling below the number. So the higher the number, the easier the check will be. Yeah? So 50 is average. So 55 is above average, but it's combined height and weight. So your height and weight combo for squeezing through gaps, seeing over walls as a combination. So you might be tall but really thin and rangy. Yeah, you can look at that. So it's a combined stat. So 50 comes out as evens. The higher the number, the easier it is to hit the checks. Yeah. So with points by, you get like 3 50s, and then you get 180,
Is half rounded down or rounded up?
round down. Okay. And there's a table. So if you want the table, it's already done that. Page 59, it's got all... There you go. So you look up whatever you've rolled, and then it will give you your half and your fifth.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah?
That's
So you don't need to do the maths. It's on page 59. That's the most important page in the entire book. Yeah. Okay. So that's size. Okay.
Is it rounded down?
If you've... Yeah.
We're doing the halves and stuff.
So...
Yes, it always runs.
Sorry, I'm slow with doubles.
No. So if you have a look on that table, you can fill in the other 2 boxes based on your score.
My fifth was
Yeah.
really easy to find because it was 25.
Well, your fifth roll, you roll.
Oh yeah.
25. So your half will be 22, and then your fifth will be 9.
So to do a really difficult check, you'd need to roll below 9% on a percentage. So it's not out of it's out of all out of hundreds. So when you're rolling checks, if you have to roll below a 9 or below a 2, that's percent. Yeah. So some of this stuff you really mean, which is why I like it. Okay, so Dex. So Dex is 3d6 times 5. Okay. So higher Dex characters are quicker, nimbler, more physically flexible. It would be the thing to grab something that you're falling off. It would be the thing to try and pick a lock, do something delicate. It would be the thing to try and catch somebody who's about to be eaten alive. I would suggest you don't fill in all the numbers until the end and then do them all in one go, because depending on how old you choose to be, some of them will change a bit and then you'll just have to do them again. Size doesn't change much. Okay. Initiative's the same. So the highest dex, you don't roll for initiative, the highest dex character always goes first.
I like that.
Yeah. So it's a dex-based reaction system. So the character with the best reactions always goes first. Okay.
What's your dex?
35.
What's your dex?
55.
What's your dex?
10.
I'm 11.
Wow.
Oh, hang on, no, I forgot to multiply. I'm not.
I was going to say, how have you rolled 11?
Get that.
Yeah, how did the time play?
How have you got
The
11?
lowest you can get is 50.
Sorry, I'm 55.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I was going
The
to
three
say,
of us got 11.
I'm
This is-
very slow.
this is like complicated maths here. We'll know at the end of this who can multiply by 5. Okay. So appearance, same. 3d6 by 5. 3d6 multiplied by 5.
Is that
App. Yeah. So this is a combination of physical appearance.
No.
And this is physical appearance plus personality as a combined thing. So you could be, so the higher your number,
So
you could
I could be
be,
attractive.
yeah. So, no, but so,
damn?
wow. So if you've got a super high app, you might be ugly but amazingly charming. Or you could be stunningly beautiful but quite shallow. It's a combination of those things to give you that number. So when you're thinking about how you describe your character, it's a combination figure. So of how you get those things. Okay. So if you've got an app of 0, they're either so awfully ugly that people can't physically regard them, or they have a personality that's utterly abhorrent, however attractive they are. But it's a combination of those things that give you the number. Okay?
It's just Drusella.
Yeah, it's one of the primary roles you'd have in social encounters. From a D&D perspective, it would be charisma, but it doesn't necessarily have to all be personality based. So you could be like, Big B would get higher up for being suave and sophisticated, for example. Yeah. Okay, intelligence.
Oh, I better roll high.
Intelligence is good at right.
Okay.
Int 2d6
Yeah.
plus 6, or 3d6, but one of them's automatically a 6, whichever you prefer. 2d6 plus 6 times 5.
2d6.
2d6 plus 6 times 5.
Sorry. Bugger.
That felt natural.
At the end of this, you can choose to re-roll any one characteristic. Yeah? Intelligence is how well you learn and how well you analyse information. So it's not necessarily a marker of education. Education's separate. Okay, so it's how well you learn, how well you analyse, how well you solve complex puzzles, see the links.
Can these be above 100?
No. What have you rolled?
7.
So intelligent is off the
14.
charts.
Yeah, so that's 70. 140. It halved is at 70. Add a 0 and then divide by 2.
Sorry, 13. So 65.
Yes.
Thinking you had above 100.
I dropped down in maths degree.
You can get your stats up to 99, but you can get them. So if you've got a 0 int, you are a babbling, drooling, potentially insane fool. If you've got a super high intelligence, when we get to the end, twice your intelligence is how many points you get to spend on personal interest. Just in terms of whether or not that becomes relevant in terms of rerolling stats. Yeah? So twice it. So for you, that would be 130. You'll have 130 points to distribute as you want on personal interests.
Love.
Yeah? Okay. They don't have to be in easy numbers. If you particularly want to give something 23 points, you are welcome to do that.
I choose to give my Cthulhu myself 99 and nothing.
Oh, that would be a giggle. You'll be mad before we start. That would be great. Okay.
99 psychoanalysis.
Okay.
Can't stop me.
So you can have contradictory statistics. So you can be super high education with a relatively low int.
I've met many
That
people.
might be so that might be your death by PowerPoint, super pedantic, will move a comma but doesn't actually have any problem solving ability, but will put all the commas in the right place and not solve the riddle. Yeah? So, no, it's not. So you can mix and match those. Okay. So power, so pow, 3d6 times 5. This is force of will.
3d6 times 5.
3d6 times 5.
Oh my god.
Green Lantern.
The higher your power, the more resistance you would have to magical effects, for example. It's force of will.
I'm not extremely bad.
If you ever lose power, like if you have something that negatively affects your power, you don't get it back again. Okay.
Your will is forever changed.
Sanity points come from power. Okay. So whatever at the end of getting these main stats, your power is, that's how many sanity points you have to start with. Okay. So it's your force of will. It's a combination of kind of wisdom, constitution. It's mental resilience. Okay. It rarely changes, but it can drop. So, for example, if you have a really nasty encounter with some horrific being that really shakes you, you might lose 5 points off your will in terms of your ability to deal with that shit. Equally, it rarely can put it back up. It can rarely put it up as well. Like you can survive the encounter and...
But you'll be scarred.
Yeah, but you tend to get scarred. So education, 2d6 plus 6 times by 5. This is formal and factual knowledge. Measures retained information from education, not the intelligent application of the information. So from a D&D perspective, this is more like intelligence, and int is more like wisdom. In a, they're different, but that's the sort of thing. So a 0 education would be, for example, a newborn baby. Like they've got no information about the world, okay? And you can have formal and informal education, okay? Education of 60 suggests that you've at least gone through high school. So you've got that level of sort of formal education.
What did you get?
50.
What did you get?
45.
I'm one of my grade 10s.
What do you get? Alright.
What have you got?
60.
So you've got through high school,
I
okay?
have a power of 30, so I hope nothing happens.
You've got some pizza.
Okay.
If you get up as far as 70, you might have gone to college,
Oh,
okay?
University. How's yours?
70.
Oh, on the dot.
There you go. So you've got
Just
through.
enough for... No,
If
just
you could,
enough.
well, some of this might change depending on
I've
how
done
old you.
psychology bachelor.
Okay,
Oh, God.
and then you
Haven't done
get some,
yours.
and then you get your luck score. Okay, so that's 3d6 times 5 is luck.
Interesting that luck says starting in college. I don't think it matters.
3d6 times...
5 for luck.
What? 1? That wasn't very lucky. I'm not lucky. 1? 1!
Oh, I'd like to get above 60 at some
So
point.
so
That'd be
luck is used where it's something that's completely out with your control. So how lucky you are, it would be whether or not you're likely to fall down a pothole that you can't possibly know is actually there because it hasn't appeared yet, or whether or not there's a major encounter, or whether or not the person whose house you're going to is in today, or whether they've gone on holiday for 6 months.
Yeah.
Is how lucky you are as a person. That's where it would come in. Okay, so your scores get modified by age. So you can choose your age either because you want to play somebody young or you want to play somebody old, or based by the skills that you want to affect. Okay?
So do we do something from before age? Or?
So do age, and then you can then re-roll anything that you want to re-roll once you've decided where you're at. So 15 to 19, you lose a total of 5 somewhere between strength and size. So you can take them all off one, all off the other, or a split. And 5 off education. Okay. If you're in your 20s or 30s, so that's 20 to 39, you can improve education. Okay. If you're in your 40s, you can improve education twice. Okay.
Is that 5? When you say improve, is that?
We'll talk about how you do that, but you can improve education twice in your 40s, but you deduct 5 across strength, con, or dex. So it is. We missed con?
Yeah, we've missed strength and con.
Okay, sorry, my fault. We'll go back to strength and con. And 50s, you lose 10 across strength, con, dex, but you get 3 checks up for education. So you can improve.
What if you want to play 60 plus?
That's on the
Let's
next
play
page, so I'll turn it over in a minute. Strength, 3d6 times 5. Sorry. So this is just muscle power. This is just.
Finally a good roll.
This is can you lift something, carry something. It determines damage output like it would in D&D. If you're at a 0, you are an invalid and you cannot leave bed. That is possible in the game. There are things that will reduce your strength to 0 and you are invalided. Okay? Con, 3d6 times 5. As it would be described, health, vigor, vitality, poisons, diseases directly challenge your constitution. The higher your con, the better you are at resisting attacks, resisting injury.
Good and gone.
You should play mine.
If your con goes down to 0, you're dead.
Muscly idiot.
There are things that will reduce your constitution. If your con gets to 0, you die.
Cool.
If your strength gets to 0, you cannot get out of bed. You can get them back again, but it takes a while.
Cool. So we pick age next and then adjust.
Yeah, so in your 60s, you get 4 improvement checks for education, but you have to take 20 of strength, con, or dex in any separation. So this is, if you want to read it, this is page 45. 45. And then
you
so
add
basically, to do an improvement, you roll a percentile, yeah? If you beat your present value, so if you've got an education of 50 and you roll above a 50, you then roll 1d10 and add that number of points. To roll another check, you then say roll above 55. If you roll above 55, you improve by another d10. And you can do that up to 4
so
times.
So just add the stats we've got to roll.
No, you have to roll for them.
Okay.
Yeah? So you can choose your, there you go, you can choose your age. There you go. There's age.
How young
It's
can
down
you
there.
roll?
15 to 19, which makes you not quite as big and not quite as clever or not quite as well as educated. So you'd have to go back to school. Or you can just leave school.
And we do app as well.
Yeah, so some of them will drop app. So the older you are, the lower your app goes. So it tells you what you can split taking points off. You don't have to take them off in one skill unless it says.
You do.
I think you go over 2 pages for some reason.
Yeah.
They put a table. They
So
put
there
a
isn't
table.
actually one that increases your dex or your strength.
Keep going.
It's just whether you 20s or 30s you don't have to dart. But yeah.
So then, if you really want to improve any of those things, you can. I'm happy for you to choose one to re-roll any of your stats.
I would be 35.
I'm going to be 63.
I'm gonna name
Improvement checks in my
So in the middle of that, between the age tables, there's a useful what the numbers mean.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So once you've got your final stats and you've re-rolled whatever you want to re-roll, yeah, it's got a nice what does a strength of 56 look like from a character perspective.
Okay, so
And if you wanted to write that down, you can write that down on the second page, which is your sort of my story personal description, which kind of gives you an idea of.
So I'm trying to improve my intelligence. I rolled with 3 again, although there was education.
Yep.
I rolled with 3 again, and if I get higher, then I can improve.
No. So, what's your education percentage?
70.
So you need to roll so if you're rolling education improvement, you roll a percentile dice.
Oh.
If you roll above 70%, then you roll a d10 and add that number of points.
Right, yeah, cool.
Those
Yeah.
are lower numbers about?
No, you need to roll
No.
above that.
So for this, for an
It just
education
means
check,
that, like, to improve it.
so
it's fine to
education
do.
check is
And because
keep
I
going.
did
Very
this-
high.
flip 2 pages over.
Lovely. This one.
So
And I can
no.
do that 4 times because I said 4 checks.
Yeah. So education checks are here.
Lovely. Okay.
Yeah?
Cool.
So you try and beat your whatever you've got. If you succeed in beating it, then you roll a d10. So you can have between 1 and 10 extra points. If you get 4 improvement checks, you get to do that 4 times.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Then
What's
Woo!
your
luck.
45.
Okay. That's lovely.
I got 81, so then I
Have
can
you
add
remembered to multiply that?
Yes. There's 3d6, right? Multiply it by 5.
You got 3.
I got 3 ones. Yeah.
Oh, brutal.
Wow.
You're like the
You're
unluckiest.
gonna get you're gonna fall over just walking out of this.
You're like the unluckiest person in the world.
That's
Brutal.
incredible. I love
Okay.
that. That's gonna make things funny though. Okay, so
Right.
you said something about
Sorry.
re-rolling or something.
Yeah, so once you've done your age and you've made any adjustments for age, so you picked your age and then adjusted strength, size, con, dex, education as per your age. We're down here if you want to choose it, and then it's over the page. Then you can choose to re-roll any stat.
Cool.
My
And that's
final
it once.
education is now 82.
There you
Okay.
go.
No, both education checks.
Oh,
So an education of 82 gives you a master's. Congratulations.
thank you.
If I'm 15 or
Okay,
18,
that
roll twice
easy.
to generate a luck score and use the higher value so I can.
Man, we're not going to get along.
Yeah.
Because I'm an idiot, but I'm really strong.
Alright, so then I take 20 points and I don't have to roll for that, I just take them.
Yeah, you choose where you take them off.
Oh, I think I'm going to take straight.
Okay, what
Which
do
is why I said don't put your halves and fifths in until you've finalised your top run of scores.
Yeah.
What do I want to re-roll?
And then you can choose to re-roll any stat if you wish to do so.
Probably
And take the
power.
higher or just re-roll and take something.
Re-roll and take whichever's better.
Okay, lovely.
Assuming that you're rolling to improve them. So I'm happy for you to re-roll any stat and take and choose either to stick or change depending on which is better.
Which one was power again? What was that?
That's like will.
So power's like willpower.
Yeah, I mean, what was the roll that I
Oh,
did? Was it 3d6 or was it 2d6 plus the 6? I can't
Power is
Yeah.
3d6 times 5.
3d6.
3d6
So I
times
roll
5.
again for luck,
Oh,
right?
hell yeah.
What's that?
So I roll again for.
That's
Yeah, that's way worse.
How old are you?
It's got like
Almost.
Oh,
So just-
8.
It's a little bit.
18.
We'll put 18 if you're 18. If you're playing 18, put 18 in your age bracket thing. Yeah.
Right.
So
Go with my education. Fine.
60 I'm not as charming as I was.
Didn't look like I did.
18. So you've taken 5 points off strength or size, or a or 2 off one and 3 off the other. Yeah.
Yep.
And take 5 points off education,
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Yep.
and then roll.
Later.
Yeah. So you can roll luck again and take the higher. So you can have more than 15 luck unless you manage to roll 3 ones again.
And what number was that handy dandy table?
59.
15.
feet anyway. Okay. So you should now have all your main stats and an age.
Should we fill in the rest of our stats?
And then you can use handy page 59 to fill in the rest of the
Look, well,
stats.
now I have a look at 55. Now, how amazing is that?
That's still kind of charming. That's nice to know.
My stats are terrible. I've got nothing above a 60.
Oh, I've got one thing above a 60, and that's my education.
That's
I've got book knowledge and nothing else.
It's only that.
Okay. When you've done all of those, whatever your int is,
Mhm.
int times 2,
Mhm.
yeah, is going to be your points for shopping.
You can't use education for that?
No.
No.
Because it's personal interest.
Yeah.
So intelligence is how much capacity you've got to learn stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What
as
you've
opposed to what you've learned. So you might be a master's level professor, but you have no idea
I'm
how
very
to
stuck
ride
in
a
my
horse, drive a vehicle, shoot a gun. It's worth it. Just noting that down because you'll get skill points based on your profession as well.
Oh.
So you don't necessarily want to spend all your special interest points if you get points based on profession. So pick your profession first and then spend all your points at the same time. Yeah.
So we're filling out those.
So you should now have an age.
Yep.
All your main stats. Yeah. We'll do hit points in a minute. We'll do all your main stats. Yeah. And your half values and your hit values. Yeah.
Just filling it out, but yes.
Okay. So what's your con and your size?
My con is 50.
Yep.
My size is 40.
So your hit points would be 45.
Okay, yeah.
So you add them together and divide by 2. And round down any weird
Oh,
numbers.
that's really inconvenient.
Con, so it's con and
Probably
size.
should have rerolled my size.
Con and size. Con and size added together and then divide by 2.
I've got
And then
80
round
in
down any
con,
weirdnesses.
but I've got 25
And that's
in
hit points,
size.
Yeah, that's your hit points. You can even start with your maximum hit points because, like, I'm
Oh,
like,
that's very generous.
I know, I'm so nice.
Thank you, gracious DM.
Oh yeah, lawkeeper of the law,
Oh, thank you, Lord.
lawkeeper of the Eldritch Law,
Thank you, Lord Keeper.
the Eldritch Law,
You that.
lawkeeper, mystic lawkeeper. Yeah, no, it's the so. Yeah, no, GM is fine, but it's lawkeeper in because like you don't want to know any of the actual law because you'll just go mad. Whereas I'm already mad, so it's all good. To be fair, it's an option. It's an option. You can get to the end and go, this really isn't working for me. I'm just going to whiz through and roll. Oh, I don't mind. I've got another character sheet for you. You whatever. So we should have hit point. Movement is the next thing. Movement rate.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Wait, where's my
okay.
Move down the
So
bottom.
movement. I'm not sure where it is in that one.
It's
It'll
down
be in
the
there
bottom.
somewhere. So movement rate. So if both dex and strength are less than size. So
Yes.
okay. So if both dex and strength are less than size, movement's going to be 7. If either strength or dex is equal or greater, or all 3 of them are the same, movement is 8.
Okay.
And if strength and dex are greater than size, movement is 9.
Oh, you're fast.
Speedy Gonzalez.
Okay. And then you deduct 1 if you're in your 40s. Deduct 2 if you're in your 50s. Deduct 3 from movement if you're in your 60s.
I'm coming.
I'm already there.
You were there 5 minutes ago.
A really helpful is none of this movement applies to anything that's non-human, kind regards. It's just you guys.
Okay.
Okay?
I thought you were going to say, none of this is remotely important.
And then
You're never gonna
it comes up for you.
But we're not playing grids, so
It comes up, well, it comes up for you. So if you've got somebody who's got a movement of 9 and somebody who's got a movement of 3, you're effectively moving 3 times as fast. So it's relative movement for if you're bolting, for example. So if you all bolt and you've all got a movement of 8, apart from Bree, who's got a movement of 2, they will get left behind, and therefore, yeah, it's more than that as opposed to you can move 30 feet and then act. Yeah, because combat works slightly different.
She's having a light trial.
Okay,
Away from them.
I'm walking in the
size
back of
and strength. So, what's size and strength? Add size and strength.
What are we doing?
done.
Add size and strength. What's that?
Exactly 100.
Okay, so for a size and strength of 100, so that's no changes. So that's it's called a build of 0, no damage bonus.
90.
So that's the same. So no damage bonus, build of 0.
75.
75. Oh my goodness. That's a -1 to damage bonus. -1 to damage bonus.
Very
And a -1 to build. Which is
My life is
around there
size.
somewhere. Probably down there. So
Although it's
build
maybe
-1.
just the speed, but yeah.
What's my
You're
belt?
very fast.
-1.
I wonder what you could do. that's
And
really
damage
fast.
bonus -1.
An X-runner.
It'll become relevant when you've got weapons.
Acrobat.
Yeah.
Do I have abilities?
Yes. -1.
That could be fun.
Or what's my belt?
Or bank.
Build is -2 to +6.
Yeah.
So your build is -1. It's based on your strength and your size.
Bank robber its own thing.
I'll tell you what it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
See.
Freak.
I've had half the minutes.
Okay.
What are you, a hacker in the 20s?
Where are we up to? Strength and size.
You like send mail, like forward mail?
Yeah.
Listening into people's phone
Your
calls.
locks have been compromised.
I hold the fucking I dwell in.
What's that?
I've come here for a
Talking about being a
discount.
hacker in the 20s.
You could be a safe hacker.
Oh, yeah. That makes a lot of sense.
That's sensitive.
I've hacked
I've got a team compromising mail. Sending it out.
I've hacked the
I'm
the
Prince from Serbia. I
hacked
want
the
to get
code
you
for the
with
library.
Smaller scales. I'm a prince from like.
from Boston.
I've hacked the code for Ashbar's library access. Whoa. That's a bit epic. Out of that's library access.
I think I'm going to be a firefighter.
Oh, that would be cool. A firefighter who was putting out fire and saw some unspeakable horrors.
Yeah, and I was probably like really handsome, but I'm all burnt up now. That's why
Nice.
my appearance is 48.
Okay. So
It's like, I used to be handsome, not anymore.
okay, so your damage bonus and build. So everybody gets either a damage bonus and build, and it in hand-to-hand combat, the damage modifier gets added to your thing. So in hand-to-hand combat, you'd have a -1 to whatever you roll if you're punching. So your build's -1.
Does anyone have any positive attributes there?
So anybody above 125 for strength plus size. What are you?
Sorry?
Strength plus size?
90.
90, so that's the same. So that's 0, 0, and yours is -1, -1.
I think I'm the strongest.
Because
So-
my size is so small.
Build. So damage bonus is damage bonus, but build is used when you're doing chases and when you're doing fighting maneuvers and things like that. It's used to give a sense of scale. So your average human overall compared to dog, compared to elder god or whatever, is a build of 0. Okay, so if you're a small thing, your build is -1 or -2. If you are a big thing, then your build goes up to a 6, I think. There's scale. There's a really nice scale. It's in mine. Scale diagram. Here we go. So here's the scale. This is the scale diagram of relative size. So where are people? They're in here somewhere.
Is that people?
There's these are sort of people. There's a person. So these are the relative sizes. So this is the Great Cthulhu over here compared to a person down there.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's about big.
We can take it.
Yeah, that's what I was assuming. We killed Cthulhu.
Yeah, you do that. You see, Hasta, you see, really quite small down there, king in yellow.
Oh, okay.
Hasta quite tiny
It's,
in comparison.
Twice the size of a human.
Yeah, compared to some of these dudes. Yeah.
What's that one at the bottom there?
Which one? This one?
Yeah.
Dog.
Looks like the thing from Doom.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like Sam one.
This one, yeah.
Anyway, so that's where build comes in.
You don't have to write it.
So occupation. Okay.
Okay.
How are you going to make your living? So you can start deciding on your occupation. If you look at what your numbers mean, it gives you an idea in terms of when you're describing your characters, what they would be. So a strength of 15 is puny, or weak. 50 is average.
Puny.
90 is like one of the strongest people you'll ever meet.
What number was puny side, you said?
15.
15.
Oh, 15.
Yeah. 99 would be a world-class Olympic sort of weightlifter. It would be the human maximum strength. So strongest man in the world kind of strength. And then 140 might be something like a gorilla or some big, powerful superhuman. And then monstrous stuff's upwards from 200. Yeah. In terms of comparative strength. Yeah. So 99 would be like supermodel glamour cool for appearance. Yeah. 90 would be like total animal magnetism, or like the most beautiful people that you could meet. Yeah. Okay. So that gives you an idea of what they are. Go on. What are we going for in terms of occupations?
I like the idea of sailor.
I think I'm going to stick with psychoanalyst. I think it's too funny not to.
Okay.
I'm going to be a boxer.
A what?
A boxer.
A boxer?
Yeah.
What are you going for?
That's why my cons so high.
There's lots.
My con and strength are basically because
I'm
Big,
imagining one of
powerful
those
hitter.
old-style Victorian boxes.
yeah,
Film star, because
I'm near
really
impossible
attracted.
to knock out.
You can be film star if you want to be. So if you have a look at whatever your chosen occupation is, it'll give you a description in terms of, so if you look at film star, then your occupation skill points, you do education times 2 plus appearance times 2, gives you a total number of points. And then these are the suggested skills that you might want to distribute those points between. And the skills are at the bottom of your chart. Yeah?
Okay.
So you don't have to use them all. And then at the end of that, you've also got your int points, int times 2, that you can do personal interests. And they don't have to be off that list. They can be anything you want to be personally interested in.
So the occupation points have to be the ones off the list, more or less?
Yeah, those are suggested. If you can think of a good reason to do something else, do something else. I'm easy. Yeah?
Okay.
So long as you can explain why you're good at it. So riding in 1920s, riding is largely beasts. So it would be like horse riding and that sort of thing. So ride is that, because drive is a skill in its own right. So you may or may not.
For a merchant.
Okay.
And do the scores for that, are they just the skill points, or do they also use abilities?
So it tells you at the top. So if you're a sailor,
I love sword.
Oh no, sorry.
Sorry.
Like if I go for a
Okay, girl.
disguise, is that just what points I put into it, or is it one of these plus the points?
no. So if you say put 50 into disguise, it would be 55 because you
Lovely.
have 5 as a baseline.
Cool,
So you
cool.
just add it
Cool.
to that.
You use
And
the
if you-
skills and the
yep,
characteristics.
Absolutely. And
Lovely.
if you don't add anything, those baseline would be. So anybody can make a check in anything. So kind of like proficiency, but it's a much bigger sliding scale of skills.
Okay.
So
So
why would I have a counting skill?
We just got a picture of Sailor.
So nobody's getting, yeah. And then at the end of this, it tells you a little bit. You can then work out how much money you might have, but it wouldn't just like whether you're solvent, you can be bankrupt.
I come from an old family.
it's still don't know how to calculate my what's it called, my like interest things. These
So-
into your-
So pick your occupation in a minute. Pick your occupation first. So
Yeah.
interest. So int times 2. So what's that?
that's 60, so it'd be
120. So just note 120. So you'll be able to spend 120 points on things that are interesting. So for example, whatever your occupation has achieved, you might have gone, I'm going to learn to drive. And I've spent 100 points learning to drive every kind of car there is. And so you could put 100 into drive auto. And you've got 20 as a baseline for drive auto. Yeah, like here. So that would give you 120 for driving autos as a special interest.
Oh no, yeah, no.
Yeah. So you don't. So do your. But your occupation
Yes,
comes
I have to-
first. So choose your occupation
I know.
first.
Like,
Film star.
hey, we're finished.
So film star is. So if you look at film star, bartender, smuggler, heckler, cowboy, criminal, deprogrammer, driver, elected official, forensic surgeon.
If we want to do well in a certain skill, what would you recommend?
The higher the number, the better you are at skill.
Yes.
It's the same. So all the checks work exactly the same as your main skill checks. So you'll have your half. 50 would be, so the base skill tells you how likely somebody who's had no training at all be able to achieve it. But all the skills work the same. So if you were doing
Is it worth ever putting 100% in a skill?
that's entirely up to you. If you want to be super skilled at something, things that come up a lot. If you're going to be investigating, a spot hidden, talking fast, that's like charming, trying to get information out of people, library use, being able to do research, so some of those things. Special skills in occult and mysticism and knowing things about that tend to, those are the things that, in terms of really common checks, that you might want to have a go for your life. You'll be able to get the motivations of everybody involved and know who's about to break and who's just saying stuff to get rid of you. That would be the kind of,
I'm going to know about the relationship with their parents.
Yeah. You'd also get things like, I think that this person is lying to us because they're frightened, versus, so it would give you insight, effectively. It's like, I don't think they're lying to us maliciously. They're hiding something because they're frightened, or they don't want to tell us because they don't trust us. And so then it can then affect what everybody else does, because you can change your strategy, for example.
120. What should I put it into?
So it suggests in film star what you might like to have for your film. So you're doing film stuff? Have you found it? Is it an actor? Where was it?
There's a
Stage actor. Okay. So education 2, twice education.
What do you think read is like? 70?
Is that 112? Is that 56?
no
55, 110 plus twice appearance, so 140. Yeah,
10 was 100.
yeah,
Not really.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then it suggests putting those points into these things,
Okay, so
because those would be the kind of things you would do as a film star. Yeah. Like you might have art staff or disguise, for example, for costuming. So you just distribute those points first, and then the 120 you can use on skills that you've already got or on additional skills.
Oh,
And there's gaps, so feel free to add skills that aren't on there. So, for example, arts and crafts, you might have dressmaking or costume making as a specific skill. So, if you wanted to make everybody a disguise or repair ripped clothes, you'd have a specific skill in that. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So there's room to maneuver, and there's like gaps. So if you want to randomly create skills, feel free to randomly create skills.
So if I wanted psychoanalysis, cut this, but dream interpretation as a separate skill.
Oh yeah, palm reading.
Yeah.
Because phrenology.
Phrenology,
Yeah, you can have all the specialist skills. You can pick a branch. So for some reason they have anthropology, archaeology, because there's often lots of that in terms of investigating. But you could have, I'm really interested in motor engineering. Like, how are these driving vehicles manufactured? I understand how engines work. Whatever.
Love.
And then once you've got your main skill in, then the half and the fifth comes off the table exactly the same.
Oh, I can't fully put 90 into that because I won't have any points left.
This is my most favourite. There's an entire chapter of stuff you can find at the library, which is why I love this book very much. The Tomes of Eldritch Lore, and how much brain you lose trying to study them.
I think my psychoanalyst is very good at listening to people.
I have a random 40 to put into something.
You have used all your points. So
I've
you've
used
used your film star points on film star skills and your 120 personal interest points.
Why must use my own?
You don't have to use them in round numbers if you don't want to. You can use them in 5s and 10s to make life easy, but you can allocate 2 points to things if you really want to. Yeah.
Has anyone else got spot hidden yet?
No.
No, what? I don't even know.
Cool, I'm not looking at them.
I'm making a backstory for my character. I was like, oh, she did this one time, this one time.
What general skills are you putting into things?
I've got swim.
Oh no, number wise. I want to see how it
I've got
So in terms of, as a general level of ability, which is I think what you were asking, 0.1 to 0. So 1 to 5% total amateur. Like total amateur. 6 to 19% neophyte. A small amount of knowledge. You may think you have a lot of knowledge, but you're kind of getting a bit. 20 to 49, amateur with some rudimentary training, hobby level at whatever the skill is. Yeah? 50 to 75 would be professional level. So 50 to 74, professional, you can make a living off it. Would be at least a bachelor's degree in whatever it is that you have chosen to put lots of skill points into. 75 to 89 is expertise. in that level of skill. So essentially, on a normal check, you'd have to roll below an 89 on a percentile die. So you'll hit it much more often than not. Working towards or achieved a PhD if you're in the sort of high 80s. And then 90 plus would be world level of whatever random spurious skill you've gone for. So if you had a 90 plus in psychoanalysis, you would be a world figure in psychoanalysis. People would come to consult you from across the sea.
Good, but I'm not that good.
Okay, so below 90 then. So that's the general sort of vibe. So, you know.
Could you say we get the points for our profession and also
yes.
points?
And then you get intelligence times 2, personal interest points. Yeah. So if we're looking at, so this got all the skills in it. So which one were we looking at? If you tell me which ones you're thinking about, I'll tell you what sort of things they come out with. So psychoanalysis, you can give therapy with psychoanalysis, so you can actually help heal sanity points.
Oh, that's great.
So it's almost like a mental medicine check.
Okay.
Yeah. So once in a game, so you can give therapy to characters in game, and then they can regain a number of sanity points over the course of a period of therapy. You can admit people to institutions where you can give them inpatient therapy if you want to.
I'm not doing that.
Okay. Spot hidden is common. So yeah, so spot hidden is secret doors, secret compartments, notice somebody who's hidden, like a hidden intruder, find a clue that's inconspicuous, notice that car's been resprayed, that kind of spot hidden. Yeah.
Is it worth taking combat stuff? Is that how essential is that?
It will.
system-wise?
Yeah,
I
it
mean,
will.
Jesse will be spending more into that.
What have you taken for combat stuff? Have you taken
For fighting, I've got 85.
Oh yeah.
So
I think
Fists
for
or weapons or
fists probably, but
Cool.
what does
So
it say?
if you
you put here fists.
I'm being a
Yeah.
healer.
so
you
you
got first.
can
No.
Oh, cool.
subspecialize. If you're going to have firearms, if you want firearms as a skill,
Yeah.
you can subspecialize. So you can have bows, handgun, heavy weapons. So that's grenade launchers, anti-tanks. Not sure why you'd want that, but you can. Flamethrowers, machine gun, rifle or shotgun, submachine gun. Throwing knives you can do, but that's a throw skill, not a fighting skill. So if you want to throw, you can throw. First aid obviously does first aid. It allows you to stabilize dying creatures, treat wounds. So everybody has that as a base skill of about 30%. So you might be
I've
really.
taken quite a bit more,
Yeah.
so I'll be quite high on
Yeah.
first aid.
You could have hypnosis if you wanted to. Hypnosis is if it's listed. Hypnosis, it allows you to induce trance-like states, and you can use it for hypnotherapy, reducing the effects of phobia or mania potentially. And you can also use it potentially to try and get people to recall information that they are resistant to giving you, or that they may have blanked out or forgotten, like recovering hidden memories.
Can I write that just anywhere?
Oh, you can just, yeah,
Can I
you
put
can
it
just,
under science so I can get that extra 1%?
Yeah.
The
Go for
science of hypnotherapy.
yeah. Go for it.
I think I like that mine.
Yes.
So there's loads. If you want to have a look, here you go, have a look at these.
And just to check
There you go. So those are the
So we
Lawkeeper skills list. If you want to see when they might be used, there's lots and lots.
And
Feel free to have a look.
add our skill points to the base rating. So I put 20 on swim.
Yep.
Swim's already got 20, so I
Yeah,
get 40.
Yes.
Beautiful.
So 20 would be the novice swimming ability of anybody if they were in relatively deep water. So you may well sink 80% of the time.
Yeah. Well, so I've got.
But you can build from 20.
Yeah, cool. So I've
with
added
training.
20, so
Yeah,
I've got
yeah.
40.
Yeah,
Cool.
because you've had some swimming lessons.
Lovely. But I also
Or you've fallen off the boat.
15% on hypnotherapy, so I can do it, but I'm not good at it.
It's on your business card
It is.
as something that you offer,
Specialist areas.
I
and
might not be able to bring it
and
back,
not many
but-
people do it, and therefore nobody knows if you're any good or not. And you could do it with a very nice,
There we go.
proper pocket watch on a gold chain.
I imagine I'm doing proper,
What have you gone for?
psychoanalysis.
Have you
while
got
I'm
your?
doing hypnotherapy.
Have you delivered all your points out?
Nice.
So for any of these that have points in the first bit, you can add them. So if you start with like 5,
I'd like
whatever
80
you
left
put
over.
in also has
And I
the
was like
5.
trying to figure
So
out where
it's,
to put it.
if you put 40
Yeah,
in,
and
it
I
would be
was like,
45.
Oh,
Does that make sense?
oh,
So just make
Well, I
so
have
for
like
200
these,
something, I
so
think.
for some of these,
yeah.
Okay.
like ride,
I was like,
ride,
Could I- I could
you can
space this out, or
5%
just
chance
dump
of being
80
able to
in
ride
one
the horse
random
before you have any lessons.
History.
So you go up to 15 if you put 10 points in. Does that make sense? Yes. Just making sure you've got all your skills. So you've allocated out all your personal
10.
skills
I'm just like
and all your film star skills.
athlete,
Yeah, now I'm just
Chad
adding
guy
up
that
with
just
Adding.
reads history
What
all
was
the time.
our general skills? Was that our intelligence times
2
2? Yeah.
in whatever you want.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you must have heaps of skill points.
And so
No, I
in
haven't.
so in
Oh,
I-
intelligence.
in the
Well,
gym.
actually, so I've got 65 intelligence, which I actually think is the highest.
Yeah.
So in the game guide, it's got it's got a much broader list of
Yeah,
skills.
my education's only 48. But
And
thankfully
when
I
they
got-
might
I
be
got
useful.
2
So in
times
terms of when they might rock up in a game,
30.
that's quite a good.
I don't know medicine. That would be silly. Psychoanalysis is actually real. It's not.
So psychoanalysis is in here somewhere.
Oh no, I'm just looking at other skills. I'm just talking about how I'm not taking medicine because psychoanalysts of the past had no medical training.
70 for first aid.
So you might want some psychology.
Yeah, I've got psychology pretty high as well.
1 for neck repair.
Psychoanalysis is actually pretty useful because there are not huge amounts of things that can restore sanity.
Yeah.
So actually
Which
psychoanalysis
one
is pretty useful.
guns did you go into? Handguns.
Handguns.
Oh,
No,
cool,
not
because I
straight.
went into rifles, so that's good.
I'm taking no combat abilities.
That's
So
fair. So I've got.
I'll do all the fighting.
So my big skills I put into
You
is
got
I've
you
got
guys have
70
a
first
gun
aid.
or a
I'm not
knife
fighting.
or
We're not fighting. Oh, we'll be fighting. I will punch
Oh,
someone in
that's
the face.
what, like
Seven-
a little pistol for
seven-
her
I've got
handbag?
70 first
No,
aid,
she has a
70
shotgun.
intimidate.
She has a shotgun.
Oh, she looks all pretty. She has like a little
55
button and she
intimidate,
pulls out the
71
shotgun.
close.
Nice. Sawn off
85
shotgun
spot hidden.
that she has stuck in her garter belt.
It's
a very strong garter belt.
What, leg? I like to say on the boat. Similarly with my navigator's only like 45. Yeah,
You weren't the navigator on the boat.
No.
I was
No, you're the
trained in
captain.
navigation 50 years ago. I don't
Can I take? Would you let me take poetry as a skill?
Yes.
No.
It's not Ming Dynasty pottery. It's poetry.
I'm gonna put 5 points of mine to
I
something.
can't put 50 points in that. That was silly. I'm almost there. Sorry.
You should do not many
You're
points of
fine.
poetry, then you can write angsty like teenager poetry.
Yeah.
I'm so deep.
What should I take?
You have like 7 points.
No, this person quotes Shakespeare as if they're having a revelation and it's the first time they've heard it.
To be or not to be.
It really makes you think, doesn't it?
Should I put fired into disguise and wear stupid bad costumes, or fired into law and talk about maritime law. This would be the case.
You
But
should be a
we're on
sovereign
land.
citizen. You should be a sovereign citizen.
I'm doing that, absolutely. Law is 10. The case of maritime law. This would be the way. But we're on land, so I'm useless.
There are so many options. There are so many options. How are we doing?
I think I'm good.
Done.
Yeah, you could marry someone on a boat.
Absolutely.
That's all we
Have a
know.
full wedding ceremony.
Alright, I have, prepare yourself, anthropology, archaeology, poetry, fast talk,
Brother.
library use, listening, persuasion, psychoanalysis, psychology, and hypnosis.
And you've spread those out.
I don't think I've got a crossover with any of those,
No,
which is great.
Okay.
I'm playing a couple, and then the rest are many.
Okay, so you're a psychoanalyst. So that gives you a credit rating of either poor, which is able to afford the bare minimum of a roof over your head, at least one meal a day, travels on public transport of the cheapest variety, and if you own transport, it's likely to be unreliable, up to average, which is 3 meals a day and the occasional treat. An average home or apartment, either rented or privately owned, and you can use standard forms of transport, but not first class. Where would you like to sit? You can choose.
Oh, I think I come from a bit of money, but I've just squandered my family's wealth.
So average.
So average, yeah.
So yeah, credit rating of 30.
Where do we write that?
It is on there somewhere. Doesn't really matter.
It's wealth. but I
Yeah,
guess-
that will do. Yeah,
Spending level.
yeah. So just put spending level. So
Average.
average. Yeah, 30. Because money is less of a major drama in this.
I'm a commercial sailor.
A commercial sailor. Oh god. You can be anywhere up to rich, depending on how good a film actress you are. A commercial sailor is 20 to 40, so that's by definition well into the average range. So average up to 40. What's your
Athlete.
athlete? Athlete. Oh my goodness. How on earth have you lot got together? That's going to be an entertaining conversation. The athlete, the
Well, one of you
peg
came to my crackpot psychology place.
So you can be, as an athlete, anywhere between a credit rating of poor and a credit rating of wealthy. So average, we've also talked about. Wealthy is a level that affords luxury and comfort, a substantial residence, potentially with domestic help, maybe a butler or cleaner or a gardener, possibly a second home in the country. You'd stay in expensive hotels and would own an expensive car or take equivalent level of transport. So do you want to be has been on the poor end, have no money left, right the way up to really well-off athlete?
Really well off athlete.
Excellent. Okay. Credit rating,
I'm good.
wealthy. Credit rating, wealthy. Film star.
Some people play RPGs to live their fantasies. Some people play washed up psychoanalysis.
Film star can go anywhere from average to rich.
What, there are no poor film stars?
Apparently not.
No.
There are some poor stage actors, but if you make it
There we
into
go, yeah.
if you make it into silent movies, you're by definition earning a lot of money. So the difference between wealthy and rich is you are afforded great luxury and comfort, a plush residence or estate with abundant domestic help, butler, servants, cleaner,
I definitely came in to help you with your
second home in the
relationships.
country or a home abroad, stay in the top hotels, travel first class, may have luxury cars and a chauffeur. There you go. There is no requirement. So long as any spending, which at Evertal falls roughly within the bounds of where you sit, you don't have to account for money. Yeah, so long as you're spending within your credit zone,
Yeah.
you don't have to actually pay
So
for
I can't
anything.
go and get a first class carriage on a train, but I can
Get a
take
train.
taxi.
Yep, absolutely. Where are you sitting?
I'm rich.
You're rich, of course you are. So basically, you can, as a rich character, choose to take everybody with you on the train. If you're going first class on the train.
No, you take the bus, I'll see you there.
Yeah, no, I'll be up in first class with you. These two can sit in the back.
This is sounding awfully familiar.
I'm getting evergreen flashbacks.
Yeah. I think that was Bigby as well.
Yeah. Because I remember you went in the back carriage.
So about value done.
Oh, I
Fellow
paid for it. I
investigators.
got smashed up on my brother
You did.
and lost a lot of money being one as well.
So you need some
And
gear.
you got cool lore from the Frankenstein's monster guy.
What you get?
All the costs.
What do we call him again? Friend. Is that just his name?
Adam. His name is Adam.
So if you go to 238, basically 238, 239 are all the random. So that's effectively all of your random, like a briefcase, Turkish water pipe or a bong.
Can I have a pipe, a smoking pipe?
Yes.
No.
So if there's specific things that you want, that's where you would find them. Everything in there is pretty much affordable by an average. These are all average stuff. You know, if you wanted a chic designer dress, that would cost you a hell of a lot more than a gingham dress, like $90 instead of $2. So, you know, it's a sliding scale of things. And then we talk about some weapons. You can also buy education. So you can go to college in your downtime and spend some money on a degree, or you can potentially just buy a degree. Whichever. There's a whole load of stuff about, you know, sports that you might, you might want a Ouija board. Okay. So in terms of melee weapons are on are on 246. The weapons are on 250 to 250 odd. So if you want, there you go.
Anywhere from 65 cents to $5.25.
So
Oh, yeah, that's an expensive straight rate.
I'm quite comfortable that people can have clothes and, you know, personal effects within their budget, just that fits. You don't have to pick them off the list. You have appropriate clothing and note down any specific personal effects that you would want to potentially keep track of. So if you've got a smoking pipe or a gold pocket watch and a very long chain that you use to look impressive with your hypnotherapy, note those things down, but you don't need to note down like, you don't need to note down the cost. If you want to have really expensive clothes, note that down, that they are, you know, your clothes are particularly expensive, more from being able to, when they get trashed.
An elephant gun. I think that's
So
a
that I
type of
note that
blunderbuss.
So on your, probably the net, there should be, so these are the sorts of things we're thinking about. So
Yes.
you can note down any important notey stuff. Yes.
30 OC
Yes, you can have telescope.
bolt action rifle.
I feel like she would treasure her shotgun.
Have you got specific skills in shotgunning? There you go.
I was taught by my father who was preparing for
On your
this.
skills, did you take shotgun as a skill?
Yes, I took firearms, which includes shotgun.
You can specify down in shotgun if you want to. Yeah.
BMW motorcycle. A Dodge SUV.
Number 20s.
Yeah.
Oh, they had
They
Dodge
have
SUVs.
tags. Oh no, the weapons
Some
have got
truck
tags. The weapons have got
Me rocking up in my cyber truck and
Do you get what handgun are you taking?
probably a 9mm revolver, I think.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I am loving the fact that you are not taking a revolver as a film star. That's
Can I have a really nice leather briefcase?
yes.
Lovely.
Yes, I like
It says good book bag. I think I'll that counts.
Good book bag.
Book bag.
You may absolutely have a very nice and
Yes.
important case.
Good book bag. Oh, I've got a tweed jacket if you can get that.
No,
Someone's got to have a chainsaw, right? Oh, definitely brass knuckles. I'm definitely taking brass knuckles
Brass knuckles are pretty good.
because I'm a really good fighter.
Brass knuckles. What are you taking as your weapon, Caitlin?
I might take a
Sawn off
Ruger.
shotgun.
A wire.
Or shotgun. You should be able to
I
find
think that's
shotgun.
not
What is that difference?
I'll have a look in a second for you.
There's wool pinstripe suit. Can I sub that out for being a tweed?
Of course you can.
No.
No.
I just want to live my academic senses, okay?
I was going to say, is this Brianna at the end of her masters in
Who's
a
got a chainsaw?
Did they even have chainsaws in the 20s?
Yeah, some of these are modern
No, it's modern.
because you can play modern.
Yeah, it says we're allowed to have a BMW motorcycle, and I'm not allowed 20.
No, it's not 20s. I'm trusting you to maintain sensible. Yeah, that's probably stupid.
I have an iPhone,
Army
an iPhone
Bugle.
26 Pro.
I don't know why, but I
It's
feel
the
like
exact same as the other
Army
ones.
Bugle.
Yeah, because you're so wealthy that you've actually met time travelers.
Commercial. A commercial one.
Will it be a detriment to me if I just have no weapons?
Yeah, so one.
Oh, sorry.
So while we're talking about weapons, the way that combat, we'll just talk very briefly about the way combat works. So there's a handy flow chart which I will give you so that you've got it because it's dead easy.
Yeah.
Which is basically dex, highest dex goes first. Readied firearms go with a dex of 50. So if you've got a loaded weapon, it has a dex of 50.
I
So
love that.
so
That's
it,
really fun.
so that's where your readied firearm. So if you're creeping up on something and your pistol is readied, your pistol sits at 50. So whatever you do, your pistol goes off at 50 in the dex order. Okay. Spot hidden, listen, psychology will sometimes allow you to get surprise attack and surprise round. Yeah. But essentially resolve in dex order. You can initiate an attack, flee, or maneuver, and the defender. So it's not resolved in I do all my stuff and then they do all their stuff. So if you're fighting creature X, you choose to initiate attack. The defender can choose to dodge, fight back, or maneuver. So if something's attacking you, you get those choices. And then, so it's effectively almost everything's a contested roll.
What's maneuver mean?
So maneuver is you resolve it in the same way as fight back, but instead of applying damage, you dodge or run away or try and escape, move around the back of something. So it's you take some kind of tactical maneuver. So dodging is they fire at you and you try and dodge it, and obviously depending on the relative skills is how easy that is.
Yeah.
Fight back. So if you're doing a dodge, basically the attacker wins if they have a highest level of success. The defender wins if they have a higher level of success or you're equal. So it resolves for the defender. So all things being equal, and if you both don't succeed, no harm, no foul. So you fire off into a bush and they roll in the opposite direction, and it's all very entertaining. Or you both fire and miss. Fighting back, highest level of success wins. On a draw, the person who is attacking wins, because the person who's fighting back doesn't. If you both fail, you just both miss. Okay. And maneuver is the same, but you maneuver rather than so you'll try and roll, or you'll try and slide through the legs, or it's a descriptive thing. And then basically you do that. So there isn't they only get one attack. It's like you attack the creature, it'll either fight back, dodge, maneuver in response to your attack. And then in response, and you can do them in any order, but the highest dex characters go first.
Cool.
is basically how a 0.1 or a 1% is always a crit.
Well,
Narratively has stuff, and 100 is always a crit fail, and narratively has stuff.
and 100 is 0, 0, and 0.
Listen.
And 0 would be 1 would be 0, 0, and 1.
Yeah.
Lovely.
So 0, 0 is 0
0
in the
in the
tens
tens.
for everything other than 100.
What's an LAW?
Firearm.
Right, D10.
There's an apostrophe next to it. Might have a
Find
description
cane.
somewhere on here.
Cane.
Yeah, you can have a cane.
I wonder if that does damage. Maybe it's
So
splitting the
when you're
weapon.
doing firearms,
Mhm.
you get how hard the check is depends on a few things.
Mhm.
So regular range,
Mhm.
like you're within the range of the weapon,
15 yards.
is a normal difficulty roll.
Mhm.
If you're long range, then that's a hard roll, and if you're outside of the range, then you can still technically hit, but it's a very hard roll. So with a 5th score, yeah. If you aim,
Mm.
or you're at point blank range,
Mm.
or the build is 4+, so it's huge,
Love.
you get a bonus to rolling, so you get bonus die, and you get a penalty if that target chooses to dive for cover,
Mhm.
because they're harder to hit.
Mhm.
If they have a movement greater than 8, because they're super fast, and if they're undercover, if they are very small, so if they've got a build of less of -2.
Mm.
So, for example, your build being -1 makes you harder to hit
That's cool.
than a bigger character. But we're talking about things such as like build scores of 7. If you're shooting with a handgun multiple times,
Mm.
you're less likely to you get penalties. It's less likely to hit than something like a grenade launcher in the face is almost certain to hit.
Yeah.
So it adjusts for obvious stuff.
Yeah.
Like if I'm holding a gun to your head, I'm much more likely to hit than if you're running across a room and I'm trying to hit you. So it will track for that automatically.
Awesome.
Okay. Damage recovery takes ages, by the way,
Good to
because
know.
it's like actual damage in normal people.
You get shot, you get shot.
1 hit point per day.
Wow. That's really good fun.
So you might actually have to take a period of time, and you resolve that narratively. Like we're going to spend a week holed up in the hotel, like bleeding on the bed sheet, but you can then do other stuff during that time. So if you wanted to
do first aid.
correspond, go to the library and learn a whole load of stuff, do a correspondence course to try and get more education while we're waiting for everybody to heal up. You can do that kind of stuff, and narratively in a very short period of time. Yeah. Okay, so your character should now have an occupation, an age, most of the stuff on the first page, a weapon, or at least one weapon,
Oh.
or not. You don't have to have a weapon. You can
there's-
have your cane as
Nice.
an
Yeah,
armed.
there's no cane. I looked everywhere.
Yeah.
Can I say like small club
Yep, that's
or
fine.
maybe large
But-
club?
There's also
Yes.
Mace.
You can have a knife. Knives are throwing weapons, and they use the throw skill.
Great.
Yeah.
No, I'm taking a little. But I won't have any proficiency with it because
So, as a rule, other forms of damage resolve in how likely it is to kill you. Okay? So, if a person of your level could routinely survive that kind of damage, like you hurt yourself falling out of a window, but it's on the ground floor, 1d3. So it doesn't matter how far it is. It's on the ground floor and you get thrown out of a window. Most people would be able to survive that. So it's 1d3 damage. Okay, because damage takes a long time to heal. If it might cause a major wound, then it's 1d6. So if it's something that's got major wound potential, so falling over 10 feet, you're breathing in water because you've been thrown in a lake and you can't, and you fail a swimming check, that sort of, actually might do something major. Severe, likely to cause a major wound, or if it happens more than twice, you're likely to die. So a bullet, falling onto concrete, as opposed to falling onto grass or onto sand or something like that. Falling onto concrete, being flamethrowed. Running through a burning building without coming up with a really sensible way of putting it out. Being less than 10 yards away from a hand grenade when it goes off. That kind of thing. 1d10 damage. Okay? Deadly, 50-50 chance you'll survive it. Okay? Being hit by a car. Being 3 yards away from an exploding hand grenade or a stick of dynamite, or somebody feeds you a strong poison. Terminal, outright death is likely. That's 4d10 damage. Hit by a speeding car, holding onto the grenade, a lethal poison that you choose to drink, and then splat, which is 8d10 damage.
8d10.
Yes, which is outright death, almost certain. That is being involved in a high-speed, head-on collision, jumping in front of a train, or being pushed in front of a train, that kind of thing. So they resolve damage in a really kind of flexibly linear, if it's going to do you a lot of harm as an actual person, it will probably do you a lot of harm. Whereas, if you get pushed over outside, if you get thrown out of a ground floor window, you're probably going to be all right. And so you're not going to. So it kind of works that side of things. We'll talk about dying when we get to dying. Okay, and chases and all those sorts of things. So you should have some character stuff. Yep. So then you just need to be thinking about what's in name.
What about sanity points?
Oh, sanity points. Yeah.
That seems important.
Oh, yeah,
Big
that's
blind thing, which is sanity points.
okay.
I'm assuming we don't just get magic
No,
points.
I'll come back to the sanity points, yeah. Have you put all your half of the table, halves and fifths on your skills? Yes.
I need to do that.
Because you're very good, aren't you? Have you not done yours yet? Derived
I did not.
attributes. Sanity points equals power. So whatever your willpower is, that's how many sanity points you've got. Not many.
What your power is your
So whatever your power
Yes.
is,
Mm-hmm.
your main score,
Yes.
40 or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
that's how many sanity points you've got.
Great, I have 30.
So the higher your willpower, the longer you're able to maintain equilibrium in the face of bad shit happening. Kind of makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So now you should have weapons, you should have some personal items, you've got some clothing, you've got things that you would pack if you were going away on a trip.
Can I tell you what I've got?
You
I love what I
describe it right. So now describe your characters, give them a name and who they are, and potentially how you know each other, at least tangentially, how you know each other.
I have no idea what my name would be.
I think that if you want to, there is a very handy, somewhere at the back of that section that you're just reading, a handy collection of age 1920s appropriate names, which is hilarious. In that book, there's a, I think it's in that one rather than this one.
What about survive? No, that's a skill list.
I'm sure it's in that one.
Professions. Not seeing it.
Hold on. Pass me the book. Oh, that's why I've got two of these. Because it just amused
Oh,
me.
here we go.
If you found it. What page?
Oh, no. Oh, sorry, no, I found something else.
Oh, hold on. Names. At the back of the whole back of the handbook, it's got page 273. It's just got pages and pages and pages of random names.
I love when you go for a random one.
I need my to finish.
James, that's true.
We'll pick a different random name.
I'm going with Bill.
Bill?
Bill. My name is Bill.
My story.
Join the kids.
It also has
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's where it is. I knew it was in there. Thank you.
yes.
What page?
55.
55 has got a smaller list of.
55.
Mhm.
Yes.
Oh, that's easy.
This is set in the real world or real world adjacent?
Adjacent. Real world would, yeah, real world
So like
adjacent.
meaningful locations, I could say London.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
And I think
Oh, I like
he studied at the university.
So I'm like a lawyer. I'm going with lawyer.
It's just you.
No, it's not.
You're close enough.
Fine. He studied in the University of Edinburgh.
The blood splatter on the names is not.
period names.
That's my phone. Yep. You throwing my stuff.
I'm not throwing your stuff. I fell off the side and you put your thing on it.
Okay. Go on then, bro.
Oh,
Who are you?
okay. I am Professor Arthur Lang.
You can write this on your character sheet on the second page. It's got all your friendly co-investigators. It's got a nice handy place to note down. Down the bottom you can fellow investigators, and then any other significant people that you might like to bring in at some point. It's up to you.
Oh, look at this. What is it for investigators?
It's
Oh,
down
right
the
then.
bottom.
Oh, that's the one. Who's
Sorry.
the remember?
Professor.
Professor Arthur Lang.
You don't talk like that for the whole thing.
Yes.
Good.
He's a funny duddy old fellow. Attended the University of Edinburgh. He wasn't good enough to get anything in London. He carries a smoking pipe because he saw another psychoanalyst carrying one once. So it was very refined.
Oh, God.
He dresses in a tweed suit. He's a very portly fellow. Big mustache, kind of greying hair, bald on the top. And he dresses in a really oversized tweed suit that doesn't fit very well. He's got a little sticky straw hat. He carries prunes with him at all times.
Oh, God.
He's got a little bottle of aspirin.
It's a funny nutty guy.
And he's got a little pocket watch. Why is everyone laughing?
I'm living the fact that he wouldn't know yet, but we're going against some of the great mysteries of the extended universe, against the Eldritch abominations, and it's not fruits. So it's
Very important, that's why
If Cthulhu,
No, Cthulhu.
if Cthulhu or the great yellow, the yellow four-eyed one is constipated, we are sorted. We can.
No, disorders of the mind are often rooted in the body.
Oh god.
He has a long and complicated history with his father, as always.
I have so much depth already. It's ridiculous.
And I imagine one of these people was my patient at some point, and it was like the fourth time that I'd heard about supernatural things. I'm like, surely a malady of the mind. So I'm on my way to figure out what's actually going on.
Are you skeptical?
Absolutely skeptical. My ideals are
Yep.
modern sciences of the mind can explain all manner of phantasms. Yes.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah.
All right then.
Incredible.
Stop laughing, I was trying to
Listen, it's there if you're interested in terms of if you want. So there are on 53, there are ideals and things if you wanted to randomly roll them so that they don't in any way fit the character you're building. You go for it. Which way around are we going? Galen.
I am Captain Edgar Wint. He was a moderately successful commercial shipping captain.
Yep.
Until there was a boat accident a couple of years ago. He lost his leg, and as he was in the water, he saw something.
Ooh.
And he's not like he's been on the water since,
Yeah.
but not much. He's
Okay.
mostly been sticking to land, doing like dock work and that kind of thing.
Okay. What did he think he saw in the water?
Or I don't know. Something. What
That big
something
worm
convenient.
thing.
Something big,
A face.
A face.
A big face.
big old
Like the face on Mars, but in the water.
But in the water.
It was the face on Mars reflected in the water.
That's what my character would say.
That's totally. That's how distance works, right? You can see reflected.
It's not your father. It was the face of your mother.
It was the face of some significant parental figure in your life. Yeah. I'm so good at this.
You can give yourself 5 to Cthulhu Mythos.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
I'll take that.
You're a believer.
Yeah.
Not a believer necessarily, just I saw a face.
I know there's
I'm a believer in something. Yes. The believer was I'm not getting back on a boat.
Yeah.
I stay on the dock. Okay. Go on then.
Okay. My name is
Scooby Gang.
Lloyd Marsh.
Ooh.
I'm a very famous and successful athlete. I'm like an Olympic athlete, but I try to compete in like almost every event. So like my best is the boxing. I'm one of the best in the world. Definitely won a gold medal in boxing. I also shoot, but that's more of a fun thing. And the high jump I never quite got, but I was always pretty good, but never quite could win the gold in that one. And I'm a very good runner. So basically, very very good athlete. But I've had my face punched a few times, so that's why I'm less than attractive. I'm not like a supermodel.
I'm very attractive.
And I'm a big history buff, and that through my knowledge and reading of history, that's made me into like quite the conspiracy theorist.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm like, this has happened before. This leads to this.
I know.
Have you
That's where you talk about your conspiracy.
have
I'm
you
100% would if it wasn't the 20s. Maybe
Um,
a radio show, a community radio.
have you got any reason, I guess, for your conspiracy theories? Is it from experience, or is it from reading, or just?
I think it's mostly just the knowledge of history.
Okay.
Just lots of reading about different histories and different takes on history. Maybe history's written by the winners. Maybe history's not quite what we think it is. Sort of thing.
All right. Conspiracy theorist, athlete. Okay.
So, my character, she's a film star. Her dad's kind of crazy.
Has she got a name?
Yes, she does. Marjorie Pepin.
Marjorie.
Pepin.
Okay.
Pepin.
Yep. She's
Sorry.
got a lot of pep.
Oh, Marjorie Pepper.
She's got some pepper stuff.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly. So her dad was kind of weird. He was into the conspiracy theory stuff. He had this bunker, and he was preparing for the end of the world
he's
and
a
all this
prepper.
dark magic stuff, and he just believed a lot of weird things. He taught her how
It
to
should
use
be prepping instead of pepping.
Pepin is prepping.
You get Pepin is prepping. Okay. Is that her tagline?
But he
That's the
essentially
dad's tagline.
taught her how to use guns and stuff. And then she was like, "Daddy, I'm too pretty for this. I want to be a Hollywood star." And he was like, "I can't stop you. That will come back to haunt you, girl." And she was like, "Whatever, Daddy." So she went to Hollywood and she convinced the big movie directors that were just starting up in the scene to be like, "Cast me in 1920s Fast and Furious." Which is
I think there was a Fast and Furious movie in the 1920s. Maybe it was the 30s or 40s. But they were literally these based there's another movie called The Fast and Furious. that came out
which
way
is
back.
where my drive auto skills come from,
Okay.
Yeah.
right?
Sure.
So
You did your own stunts.
yeah. So she's wealthy, and she's like, "Yes, I'm happy. My dad was wrong. He's probably cooped up in his bunker like a stupid little fuck. He's weird, and I'm happy." And then all this weird stuff started happening. Weird and supernatural and spiritual.
Oh,
and
but
she
he
was
probably
like-
taught you how to drive because he was like a what's it called? Like a bootlegger of what's it called? In the 20s, how it was Prohibition, yeah, and that's how NASCAR was invented. Basically, was because it was literally they had to make the cars faster than the cops, so they could get away from them with the illegal alcohol.
Yeah, but all this weird stuff started happening, and she was like, "Maybe Daddy was right." So she went to find this one.
Oh.
She's like,
yes.
"Help me, okay?" And
I
he
see
went,
you have a troubled relationship with your father.
That's not fair.
yeah, and she's like, "All this weird stuff is happening," and he gave her prunes, and she's like, "Okay, whatever, man."
She felt better.
Went back to Hollywood, and all this weird stuff happening, and she's like, "Okay, gotta get my shotgun, gotta get my blush compact," which she holds very dear and dear. And she's like, "Okay, I have this little bob, and I have my garter with my knife, and I gotta go out and I gotta find out what's happening."
Okay.
So that's what's going on.
And I've been notified by members of her immediate family.
And I've been sent to you by my sponsors because they're thinking my crazy conspiracy theories are starting to be a bit too controversial for them to sponsor me, and so they think I
And I'm
need
like,
to see.
Come take a walk with me,
Okay. So are we hypothesizing that all three of you, at least at some point, have been in the waiting room of the
I think
professor's
we're all unhappy clients.
of the professor's rooms? So you've got Marjorie.
Can the
Preppin'
professor do a
Pepin.
psychoanalyst check on each of us to see if they're any good?
Yeah, go for it.
Alright, so how do you go about this?
So-
if it's lower than the score, I succeed.
Yes. So you roll percentile dice, and if it's lower than your psychoanalysis, you
I'm
have
doing
been
you first.
you have been in some way not harmful.
29.
Oh, not bad.
And
You've got
my
PTSD.
my threshold is 81.
Okay, so you have you can give
It just shows up.
the captain
Do you have
some
a
form of
bottle?
appropriate diagnosis and course of treatment.
Yep.
You find
I diagnose sitting in your bath like 2 hours every day to climb down.
Okay, go for it.
89, so I don't succeed.
It's like, this one's too tough for me.
I'm intimidated by your physical prowess.
Yeah, I just don't think we get along. We've got like nothing in common.
Yeah.
You're trying to turn me. I know the truth.
I'm like, oh, my boy.
So I think you're starting to think maybe there's something to this, and not everything can be explained in science. Actually, these conspiracy theories are starting to actually affect your decision making. So you did well with the sailor who's actually had potentially an experience. Bathtub. You sit in the bathtub and get used to water again. Oh no, hold on a minute. Maybe this is all
The
linked.
destruction of Boston was covered up. I'm telling you.
Go on then. How have you got on with prepping Peppin?
Pretty well, 69.
Okay.
Sorry.
So we have. Oh God.
Sorry. I say, as I said before,
She's in hospital.
strange relationship with father. This makes complete sense. Keep a dream diary.
Somebody says you're cutting up lines of cocaine.
This will make
So
That's
it is.
actually the aspirin.
So this sort of meeting in the waiting room is taking place in the spring of 1925. You're all seeking assistance from the great professor for your slightly dubious mental health conspiracy
There's
theories.
a portrait of Freud up on the wall.
Nice. There's some nice plaster casts of skulls with lots of notes on them. As all the famous officers. And you have heard that one of your colleagues that you met briefly, you thought little of him, called Professor Elias Crowley. Oh my goodness, there's a wiki in the making, I can see it. So Elias Crowley, you met him tangentially. Edinburgh wasn't a large institution at the time. He was an archaeologist who specialised in ancient civilizations and history. You didn't get along with him particularly well because you were science of the mind and everything could be explained, and he was much more...
I was focused on the past.
He was focused in the past, and also the sort of... There are occult and spiritual mysteries within that past and these ancient civilizations which we need to investigate. And you understand that he headed out. You've set up your private rooms and are making a tidy income, helping the mental and bowel health of an assortment of individuals. And he has gone on an expedition to a town called Ravenswood. And he has another academic that you know who is a historian by nature is also involved. She's called Irina Voss. Irina, not Irina. Not Irina. She's not got black hair and blue eyes. Irina Voss. And there's this archaeological dig going on, and you've heard sort of stories coming back into the university that there are concerns that Crowley may have started to behave slightly oddly, and that there are things happening up there, and that the university has approached you in terms of whether or not you might potentially go up and offer some counselling and support to one of the lead archaeologists of the University of Edinburgh, because the sort of dean of the university is worried that the reputation of their institution may be being slightly undercut by the behaviour of Dr. Crowley. And so you've received this notification. You recognise in some of the sort of similar themes in terms of odd happenings, things that don't link together, seeing things that aren't there, people going missing, that sort of thing, and Crowley seeming to get increasingly distressed with some of the things that these three people have been telling you in their therapy sessions over the last sort of 3 to 6 months. Therapy. That strange nightmares, strange lights, drawing lines between things that may or may not be in any way related to one another, seeing things, visions in the water, strange things. So you're sort of now in this, I don't know, you tell me, position where you've got these three in their different forms telling you all these weird things, and you're being asked by the university to potentially go out and see what the hell's happening in Ravenswood. And that's where you're at. These three are in your waiting room. So you've received this missive from the dean of the university, who's going to give you relatively handsome advice, because obviously you're going to be able to keep your rooms running. We will obviously pay your rent while you're on this important business for the university, and we would give you a handsome stipend, which is for the professor a relatively large amount of money.
Yeah.
50 cents.
Yeah. Yeah. £1.50. Yeah. 2 shillings and 6 pence. Permanent tenure. If you can successfully bring Dr. Crowley back and, make sure that nothing harmful to the university is in any way attached to his happenings in Ravenswood, that would be most well rewarded. Tenure would be entirely appropriate for somebody of those skills. So you're all waiting for your appointments. The dean leaves. You've got this letter with the sort of all these details and the ravings of Alistair Crowley. This sort of the last report that he sent in, where people are missing and things are happening, and there's something in the woods, and they found something in the woods, and there's something in the woods. It just goes on like that. It is certainly not an appropriately academic report. No, very unimpressed.
We're in roleplay, right?
Yeah, go for your life.
Okay, so I'd probably invite all 3 of these lovely people into my room at the same time.
At the same time.
It's a new form of therapy.
Group therapy.
Group therapy.
And I show them the report and I say, you've all recently come to me with such extraordinary phantasms of the mind. I wonder what you make of this story. And I'll sit back with my pipe.
Do I know where Ravenswood is?
Yeah, so you could roll.
I've got navigation.
Pardon?
I've got navigation.
Yeah. You've been on land a long time. You could have navigation.
I think we're all below that. Navigate. Yep.
Yep.
27.
Okay, so you know where Ravenswood is. So Ravenswood is a relatively small, sort of slightly bigger than a village, slightly smaller than a big town, small town in the shadow of a forest. It's quite rural. It's very humid there in the summer. It's probably about 50, 60 miles from wherever you are, so London, out into the country. Small place. You would know it that there's a relatively large sort of inland lake located relatively near there, where they train, in your mind, fishermen. There's not much call there for merchant sailors such as yourself, but fishermen, certainly the younger ones, often go there to do some training and to learn how to sort of sail ships. There's a big inland lake there, which is how you would know it.
Would I know any history or rumours about it?
Roll for history.
I think I'll say
Far out.
Training mission.
So that's the first 100 you've ever rolled in your...
No, I got 87. And I've got 85 on history.
You stretch your mind back, and as far as you can tell, no significantly famous athletes or athletic events have anything to do with Ravenswood that you can think of. So you run your way through the things. You can't think of a single Olympic medalist or significant athlete of note or an event that has been held there. You are unsure why you would be interested in the place.
Yeah, seems like a shit hole.
After what's your character's name?
Captain Wint.
After Captain Wint talks about still water, I write in my notebook. Interesting. The subject seems to connect this body of water to their experiences in the sea. Extra water therapy required.
Just gonna spend your entire time in the bath.
Yeah.
Showers as well.
I'll turn to.
It's
Marjorie.
Marge, if you
Marjorie Pepin.
Miss Pepper.
I think there was a little bit of a Langian slip there.
Oh, I'm sorry. This is meant to be a serious campaign.
No, it's going to be Scooby-esque. It has all the Scooby qualities to it, so I can feel it.
Miss Pepper.
It's Voynich with Eldritch Abominations.
This story of this Elias seems remarkably similar to your father. I know this is a touchy subject, but
I'm not sure you want.
did the name Ravenswood sound familiar to you?
Somewhat.
So what have you got? So you could, if you want to know if you know anything about Ravenswood, you would be potentially history or occult, or
I have a clock.
go for it. Oh, yeah. So basically, if you can think of a check that you could use to apply, use it any check you want. Otherwise, I'll pick one. So 2d10. So your percentile dice is that one and that one. Yep. Okay. So the doubles is the 10s. So that's 10 and 4. So 14. So what's your occult?
30.
30. So 14 is below 30. So that's pass. So you've heard about Ravenswood. So you have heard from your dad that Ravenswood is one of the sites where the end of the world may start and then spread like a ripple, and that there's great secrets in the forest and you should never go there. That's what your dad told you.
What do you tell us?
My father. He's mentioned it occasionally. I don't know what it's about.
Sounds great.
The famous Prepin Pepin was interested in this area. Maybe we should check it out.
So do you think...
Sorry. It's just so
Do you think your dad, the famous Prepin Pepin, in the sort of conspiracy world would actually, was he a private conspiracy nut? Or did he share his theories?
Yeah, did he write books that I've read?
Did he have pamphlets? Did he try and recruit people to the cause? Or was it more of a personal bunker and it was just him?
I think he knew people. He had he had a group, and he was like, "This is gospel, go out and spread it." But I'm staying here in my bunker, so if anything happens, you guys are fucked. Then I'm here.
Okay.
But he had rhetoric that he.
I think I've got notes from the psychoanalyst before me who treated the father. Yeah.
Mm. So yes, you may have come across Prepin Pepin on the conspiracy web, sort of gossip train that there's this guy who
I don't
knows
think I've
stuff
met
about
him in
stuff.
person, but I've met a guy that's met a guy who met him.
Yeah, 6 degrees of separation. Everybody's met a guy who's met a guy who at least tangentially knows somebody who knows somebody who knows Prepin Pepin.
6 degrees.
6 degrees of Prepin Pepin. And his daughter Marjorie, the film star. Okay, so do you share that Prepin Pepin thinks there's something going on there, or do you just go, yeah, he said stuff about it?
Oh, yeah, I'll just go he's mentioned it, but I feel like she'd be very closed off about the whole thing. Just he's talked about it. Continue.
Yeah, this is why you've got nowhere.
I'll turn my little
Oh god, you're going to get hypnotised.
I turn my armchair to face you and I say, Miss Pepper, if you do not open yourself up to me, you will not be able to emotionally open yourself up to friends and family and the possibility of Christ and lovely things in your life.
And thank God for that.
These guys are quack.
This is why you got an 86 on psychoanalyzing Prepin. Oh god.
If you do not tell us what your father knew of Ravenswood,
Mm-hmm.
you will never be able to untangle
The mystery.
the tangled web at the heart of your issues.
Roll fast talk.
No. 99 on the dice.
Oh!
Tangled web in the
web, tangled.
your heart.
You could describe how Marjorie responds to this utterly ridiculous bumbling.
I'll never forgive my sponsors for sending me here. This is bullshit.
Well, my father mentioned that, right? But I don't believe him with that stuff. Okay.
Oh, neither do I. And I think it could be a fabulous opportunity if we took these troubled individuals to the heart of this mystery to prove that there's nothing wrong and that it is all in our minds.
And you'd be coming with us, of course.
Why, of course, I have notes to take.
So you're going to prove to me that there's no conspiracy to go to some random place and not
Yes,
do
yes.
Yes. Well,
Okay.
you
It'd be
see.
really funny if we find something.
Well,
Don't be
one she's
ridiculous.
says to your weird conspiracy guy, she's like, well, you seem like you believe in the kind of things that my father did. And my father believed that there was weird stuff happening in Ravenswood. So, we're gonna take you there.
Weird stuff. So I'm in.
I could
No!
I could send word ahead to some retired captains I know here. Some make their money training new sailors there. See if anyone I know is able to offer us a place to stay.
I can do some
We can
swimming
go
training
there.
on there too.
We
Do
can
some
prove
swimming.
that there's nothing there, and then you can come back and just like me, happy. Instead of weird.
Are you happy?
I'm happy.
I'm rich. I was in 20s Fast and Furious. Very happy.
20s fast and
It's an insect.
Is it the Fast and the Furious or is it just Fast and Furious?
Two different movies.
Is that the sequel?
the fast and the furious.
Fast and the Furious and Fabulous.
Did you sign a 5-picture
Just a
deal?
prequel. Okay, nobody talks about it.
No
Nobody-
fast, no furious.
The slow and mellow.
Slow and mellow.
I'll take out a couple of diaries from my desk and I'll say, this sounds like a most fascinating adventure. If you would be so kind as to fill out these reports. I will be watching from a distance.
What do you want us to fill out? Some form.
Diary.
Oh, yeah.
I think you already got my dream diary. I need to
But when you can't speak to me, speak to the diary.
Which you want your read later?
Why, of course. This is a study after all.
Yeah.
No.
This guy is a quack.
Interesting, the subject seems to be making use of the diary. And it will
I'm using uses of
Yeah, that's what that's for.
Oh, that's so
That's your diary.
yeah.
Oh dear. This is going to be.
diary.
I'm sorry.
It's so good.
No, it's all good. So, you pack. If you were packing to go.
I packed 3 straight jackets.
Okay.
I have one of the sides for yourself.
So the university is prepared to pay for transport. So for a train to the nearest station and then a taxi cab down to Ravenswood. So what would be the 3 most important things that you would pack if you were going on this? Find out what this dude's rambling on about and sort of prevent him from causing a whole load of trouble for the university, / investigate the fact that the stuff that you think's happening is definitely actually real and that this person's a nutcase. What would you pack?
Large, big blue woolen coat.
Mm-hmm.
Stay warm, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think some rope,
Mm-hmm.
just in case.
Mm-hmm.
Always good thing to have.
Yep.
And then 2 pillows in between which I've hidden my revolver and several spare casings of bullets, just to be sure.
No, just to be sure.
Yeah,
Just to be sure.
Just to be sure.
What would you pack?
I'd pack my rifle because I could always do some hunting there,
Mm-hmm.
and practice shooting for the next Olympics.
I never rest.
Yeah.
And my swimmers, so I can do some training.
Some meal prepped containers for the journey.
Yes, that's my third part. That's exactly
Skinless, bland, boiled chicken and rice.
Someone's without the crusts.
What would you pack?
The 1920s, I think they were less strict on the diet. I'd probably just eat shit.
And you'd have swimmers that come down to your knees and then come up with the suspenders,
Like suspenders,
and they're
yeah.
made of wool. They're nice. They're really attractive. Yep.
Okay, she'd have her very expensive clothes because she's yes, we're going on an adventure to prove there's something.
15 suitcases.
but there is nothing, and my clothes are not going to get ruined, so I'm going to pack my most expensive things.
Uh-huh.
And she has this little
Oh, dear.
blush compact that she uses for her entire face.
Okay.
She needs to put a little something on her eyes. It's going to be blush,
Nice.
cheeks, lips, the whole thing.
Okay.
And she carries that around. And then
So she's kind of monochromatically
Yeah.
themed in pink.
I think she would ask is one of she'd be like, "What's just the question? Could I hypothetically bring a shotgun? It's sentimental."
It's sentimental. Why did you feel you need the shotgun? Is it a fear of safety? A fear of yourself, perhaps?
I mean, I'm going to be around you, so I suppose.
The subject appears to be wary of myself. An odd suspicion. Completely unfounded. Completely without basis. Well, my dear, if the shotgun would help you feel safer, then I suppose it's a necessary psychiatric tool, so I would have to allow it.
Thank you. Yes, so she's going to put that in one of her suitcases.
Okay. So shotgun, a blush for doing your whole face,
Mm-hmm.
and some very expensive clothes. Okay. One suitcase?
Oh, she's got so many.
Okay.
Everyone else has like a bag, and she's like, "Alright, just 12 more."
Okay.
We definitely has just one of those like cylindrical sails things you
Yeah.
put over your shoulder. And
Yeah.
stuff.
Like a duffel
Yeah.
cylinder
Yeah.
thing.
It's
Yeah.
got absolutely no room, and yet it contains way too much stuff.
Okay. You've got lots of very fancy looking suitcases and you're bringing everything?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
I'm packing up my entire house. Like a little snail.
So you
I've probably just got my little bag that I can.
You'll put that
And then just a
very
suitcase
much.
full of rooms.
Oh yeah, I've got crew and my thermal underwear.
I'll pick mine.
So you arrive into this let's put all that down. Into this town. That's better. It's raining. I'll bring your picture in a minute. It's humid. It's unsettlingly quiet. There's the taxi pulls up. Cobblestone streets sort of glisten in the rain. It looks like somewhere you would fall over very easily. There's this sort of low-hanging mist around the trees, not Ravenswood level mist. And there's this sort of dense forest. This sort of quaint sort of cobblestone village sits in the heart of this sort of forest. There's a faded sign sort of on a wooden post that reads sort of "Welcome to Ravenswood, established 1854." There's houses that are largely wooden and seem weathered, quaint, almost chocolate boxy, but weathered and like the whole place is sort of decaying in the rain. There are very few people out and about, and those that are seem to sort of glance at you and then sort of put their head down and just hurry along. And the sky is churning with this sort of grey clouds. So this would be
Very cool.
the town of Ravenswood. That you're going to. It's wet. It's cold. You can see down this cobbled road. There's sort of up ahead. There appears to be a sort of town square. You are unclear because I don't think any of you've been here before. You know, there's a lake on the outskirts of town where anything is, and the this taxi driver has dropped you relatively unceremoniously on the outskirts of town, as opposed to at a hotel or an inn or a building of any description. So in the rain on the outskirts of town, and then turned round in this massive turning circle across the road, down the ditch, across the field, and then sort of choked off
I will be yelling in person in this.
back towards. So you're stood in the rain on the outskirts of town with a number of suitcases, with your clothes getting completely drenched. Where would you like to go? What would you like to do?
I have an umbrella.
I'll turn up my coat collar and just kind of start walking for
Yeah, I'll also start looking for him.
towards the
I reckon I'm pretty on the face, by the way.
I won't help
You're
you.
probably very bothered.
I won't help you with the baggage, but I'll say you seem to carry a lot of baggage. I don't know.
seeing nobody else helps, and but like very weird, like and then turn around, hike back up the hill, and grab a bag or two.
So as you're coming in, you're coming down this road on the sort of on the left hand side of this cobble street. You see what appears to be farm buildings with sort of land out behind them. You see some sheep and some cattle and some crops. They're coming in against sort of arable land. There's a building on the right hand side of the path with a sign saying Hargrove's General Store. And what appears to be further down the hill in front of you, what looks like it opens up into a town square. Where would you like to? Are you heading down? Are you?
I'm observing and watching weddings.
You sure? How bad is the rain? Is it like a drizzle, a storm?
It's more. It's a drizzle. It's that really. It's not heavy and stormy. It's that persistent, not wet enough that you'd really want to rush inside, going to get drenched, but you're going to be absolutely soaked to the skin when you actually do get inside. That sort of persistent, damp, drizzling rain. The sky's heavy and grey. It doesn't look like it's stopping anytime soon.
I'll make my way to the town centre.
Okay.
See if I can spot a hotel.
Okay. As you walk in, so this is what you find as you walk in. So as you're walking in to town, turn these off, you're coming in this way, down this road. So you see the general store over on this side. You see some sort of farm buildings over on that side. You see some buildings off into the distance. You come into the town square. You can see the Ravenswood diner. There's a sign with a sort of raven swinging outside, a sort of cafe with the lights on. There appears to be a sheriff's office. There's what appears to be over the distance, what looks like the local church. You can see the steeple going sort of right over on the far side. And you can see a sign pointing this way to the Forest View Inn. So you sort of wander
towards the Forest View.
Yeah, so you wander through the centre of town. There's some shops. There's some bits and pieces.
Do we see any people?
Not many. You see, it looks like it's sort of early afternoon. It looks like there's some people inside the diner. There's lights on. It's not that it's deserted, but there's not lots of people out and about. There's one or two, and those that you do see just walking around kind of look at you with what looks like guarded suspicion, and then head down, and then just keep going about their business. So nobody's actively hostile, but nobody's particularly engaging you in conversation or being overtly friendly.
Could I look for signs of anyone who might be involved in the dig using maybe my archaeology law?
Yep.
Is anyone...
And you would also recognise Elias Crowley or Irina Voss if you saw them out and about. Yeah.
That's a success. 25. My archaeology is 51.
You don't see, as you're looking around, you see farmland, you see forest around the edges of this town. You don't see any obvious evidence that, there's no area that's fenced off, so you don't think that there is an archaeological dig going on in town that you can identify, and you don't see anybody walking around covered in mud, carrying a trowel, wearing hat that, and you've not seen either of the sort of academics. So you don't think the dig is here so much as somewhere near here.
Professor, while you might have it unveil, the rest of us do not. Let's to the inn. We can look around town like
That fear of water of yours again.
What are you talking about?
I put a hand on your shoulder and I say, it's a terrible thing to fear. Let's get you inside. And I'll lead you inside.
Rub my wooden leg as we keep walking.
So as you go out towards the sort of northeast, you follow this sign, and you reach this sort of cozy looking wooden building, 2 stories, ivy creeping up along the outside, with a small sort of sign outside with a forest and hanging above the door. And it's sort of a blue wooden door. It's done. It's permanently closed. Door opens. You enter into this lobby. It smells of wood and fresh lime, and linen, and it smells clean. There's a large stone fireplace which is lit. It's warm. It's quite cozy. It's actually quite a nice place, or it at least appears to be in the lobby. There's a woman behind the reception desk. Hello. Hello. Can I help you at all?
I'll take off my little hat and I'll say, hang on, what's my name again? Professor Arthur Lang. And you would be?
Clara. So Clara. Clara.
So it looks like she's seen the devil or something.
Girl looks like she is the devil. Clara Wilkins. How can I help you? Are you looking for rooms, a meal, a drink?
Myself and these fine companions searching for some cover from this awful drudgery.
My hat is ruined.
I'd love some food.
Oh, okay. Of course. And you, as you look around, this is cozy, but the wallpaper is faded and slightly peeling. There's a sort
What colour is it?
pale green,
Okay.
with sort of a fleur-de-lis pattern. It's just sort of peeling at the edges a little bit. There's a sort of thin layer of dust. You notice on sort of some of the desk, it all looks just slightly, it smells clean, it looks nice, it just looks slightly unused, it's dusty, like it's not had as much upkeep as it would require. Do you need somewhere to stay? I don't recognise you. I guess you must have just arrived in town.
You don't recognize me? I've been in like 3 movies. Do you not have theatres around here?
We don't have a moving picture house here. No. Sometimes local theatre troupes come into town and maybe do a performance, more usually in the summer when the weather is slightly better, in the square. But we rarely get towards the city to see moving pictures.
Right, I should have guessed. I would like your biggest suite, preferably no dust, if you could help it. I have allergies.
A touch of narcissism.
Okay. And Clara just kind of looks at you and then
You'll have
looks.
to pardon we'll have to pardon Marjorie. The rest of us would just like rooms.
Rooms. And she looks. She flicks through this book. You see sort of bits of dust come in. She flicks through this book and goes, "We have 3 rooms available at the moment. We have a room. It's very lovely. A queen size bed. Perfect for a couple.
What do I look like to you?
Really? Whip looks around confusingly at who they're looking at.
She's not really looking at anybody. She's reading the book.
Marcus grabs himself and kind of grabs
the other room is slightly larger, but has twin beds, 2 of those, and then the third room has beautiful views out into the woods, right at the top. Beautiful views. Yes.
And which of those rooms does our dear friend Elias have?
Elias, Professor Crowley.
Yes.
Oh, he does not stay here. Professor Crowley has a house in the town.
Of course he would. Of course he would.
He has a property here.
Interesting choice. Yeah.
Do you have a rule against shooting out of the window? During the day, of course. I wouldn't want to wake anyone up.
That's what you're concerned.
What would one wish to? What would one wish to shoot out of the window?
Just like a buck or something.
Remind me of your name.
Sorry?
Remind me of your name.
Lloyd Marsh.
Thanks. Just let's see. For the sake of amusement. Just for the sake of amusement. Would she? Oh, she does. It's Lloyd Marsh, isn't it?
Yes, that's me.
You boxing.
Yes.
1924.
I walk out of the room.
I
My
sit down on the stool and start taking notes.
my father, he's not with us anymore, but he was a huge fan of the sports, went to many fights and games. He had clippings of yours from the newspapers, and she pulls out from under the thing this sort of really dusty album, and there's like random stuff in it. There's just random stuff in this album. There's sort of photographs of this of the Forest View Inn over a number of generations. You can see the sign when it was lovely and when the building was all clean and freshly painted. And then there's newspaper clippings of you. There appears to be one that you've signed, and you recognise your signature. So it looks like at some point you've met this woman's father, and signed something for him. There are no clippings of any moving picture things of any description.
I write down in my book, signs of fixation and obsession.
If there is something that you would need to shoot, then I would feel free to shoot it. Please open the windows. The glass these days is very difficult to replace, expensive, and the sheriff would not appreciate you discharging firearms at any of the residents of the town. So
No, I have
just
no
please
intention of
be ensured that you are, like, you know, a marksman such as you.
that. Yes, mine is very good.
She flicks forward to where you've got shooting things. A marksman such as you should be fine. Yes. And she sort of smiles and carries on. You can roll either listen to try and discern where she's coming from, or it would either be listen or fast talk in terms of trying to work out where she's going, or psychology to try and work out what her motivation is. Yeah.
Relationship with the founder, perhaps. I'll wander back into the place, look at her face.
The rain.
Don't know what that means.
It's a 37, so I'm guessing yes.
Yes. So 37.
Yeah,
You think that you notice with the 37 that Clara, in her sort of late 30s, early 40s, does not have a wedding ring. And you would be wondering whether she gets many opportunities in this town to meet potentially eligible husbands. And whether or not this athlete may have just made it onto the list of potentially eligible husbands is what you would discern from that in terms of what you think is going on here. There are 3 rooms, and so there is a room with a large bed for 1 person or for 2, a room with twin beds, and then a room with an excellent view.
I will take the room upstairs.
They're all upstairs.
I will
take the room with a view. I am, after all, observing these fine people.
I'm not going to be standing outside your window.
Well, when I shoot a beautiful buck, you're not getting any of my deer because you didn't give me an opportunity to shoot from the beautiful view.
You say. Express desire. Violent.
Would you like a room?
I'll take the twin.
Okay, did not share a bloody room with that guy.
I'm giving you the room with the view.
Am I feeling that you would like all 3 rooms,
Yes.
and then you can choose?
Is there not a 4th room?
She looks at the book and goes,
No.
No.
Alright.
There are 3 rooms.
We'll take all 3 rooms then.
She hands you these sort of antique brass keys on a very long wooden, too big to fit in any pocket, difficult to steal just because they're so clunky, antique wooden keys. And she looks at your luggage and goes, the rooms are upstairs. And she points to a very narrow, sort of winding wooden staircase at the back of this. It's not an accessible property. So there's this sort of counter. There's a big stone fireplace that's really warm. There's a small sort of bar to one side. There's a couple of tables, but it looks like she would pour drinks from there. It's not like a restaurant sort of place. And then this rickety wooden staircase going up to the floor above.
Have we decided what rooms we get, or is that...
You've got all 3 rooms, or you have 3 keys.
Great, so I get the big one.
Big queen bed, yeah.
Yes.
So that means you two have to room together. Unless we like scissors, paper, rock to see who has to have
So
room with
you
the professor.
are you taking your own suitcases upstairs?
I'd be happy to fight you for it.
Or are you just leaving them all downstairs?
And I word to you 20 years ago. You can take the topper.
Yay!
I have to take my suitcases upstairs. They have all my things in it.
Roll strength.
I don't want to take them myself, but whatever.
Straight strength.
I'll slip Clara my business card, and I'll say, in case of any disturbances during the night.
Okay.
What dice is that?
So 2d10. So it's almost always the 2d10. And you double numbers are the tens and single numbers for units. If you roll 3 zeros, that's 100.
Good night.
Good night.
It's when rain falls.
So that is.
You say everybody's going in.
Is that 9? So that's a. Is that 50? 10, 7. That is a 90, I think.
That's nothing for your sins.
Yeah. So because it's that way around. So that was a 90. 6. So that's a fail. So you try. So 96 is a fail on strength. So you try lugging your suitcases up the stairs and fail. You get your suitcases to the third step, and they're just too heavy and unwieldy to get easily around this sort of rickety wooden staircase.
Yeah.
Love.
Would you like a
You waltz off.
I'll clasp you on the back and say, excuse us, we need to head to our room first and head off and then
So you get to your room. It's a very pleasant twin room. On this landing, there is a small bathroom. There's a toilet.
Can I check inside to see if there's a bathtub?
There is a bathtub. The bathtub is separate, so there's a separate bathroom and a sort of wash basin and indoor toilet, which is quite the fancy addition. It looks like they've turned a bedroom potentially into this sort of indoor water closet.
I go after the professor and take the plug out of the bath and put it in my coat pocket.
Okay, so the twin room.
Is there any way that I can make a perception for that?
Yeah, you can. Oh, whatever. What would you use to try and?
Psychology to see if you're looking sus.
This seems like this is going to be bullshit.
Or I guess
You can roll sleight of hand to see whether or not. So it'd be spot hidden against sleight of hand.
I'm not doing it in the room with them. Fail.
Fail.
So if you fail to spot it, it doesn't matter.
As we're walking together, you slip into the bathroom, I don't notice, and I say, I think you're doing marvellously. When we first met 3 months ago, I thought you'd never step foot in water again. But here you are walking through the rain.
Professor, it's rained. Hang on, sorry, I'm 46. Professor, it's rained many times in the last 3 months.
Why, yes. I wasn't there to observe how you reacted in that circumstance.
Professor, we continue existing around your field of view.
Well, there are some levels we don't do that. And I'll just continue talking about solipsism and perception until we get to the room.
Okay, there's a twin room. Really clean.
I read this fascinating.
Drag the bed as far away from the other one as possible.
So there's a
with your one leg real.
There's a window at the far end. A sort of a big sash window. Looking out, and behind, you can see out of your window. You can see across to the church, which is set back from the road, and behind that's a sort of small graveyard and then into the woods. So it's really quite secluded. And you can see a couple of sort of small houses.
No sign of a lake.
No sign of the lake. You get to your queen room. It shares a bathroom and a toilet. It's not en suite. That it's the 1920s, and it's got a wide bed. It has a turned down feather sort of cover and pillows. It has a lovely window. Yours looks across back the way you've come, so you can see towards the town square and out towards the farmland on the other side. So it's sort of opposite ends of the floor with the bathroom in the middle. You once you've delivered all of Preppin' Peppin's luggage, which when all your suitcases are in the room, it's actually really difficult. It's got a big bed, but it's not a big room. So it's actually so to get now from one side to the other, you have to go over the bed because you can't get around the bed because it's just full of suitcases. There isn't like a wardrobe or lots of hanging space. This isn't it's a big bed in a small room. You go up to the room with a view. The room with a view is in the attic, in the eaves. You're not 100% sure this was ever actually a room, so much as it's the attic and they're just trying to get some extra money from renting it out. It's got a bed up here, and it has got a view. It's got a small window looking almost directly north out into the forest. So from here you can see the path that you went along to get to the forest view inn that carries on sort of northeast and then disappears into the forest. You can spot hidden if you want to.
Right.
25.
Whoa! I passed that. A 19.
You look at the path going into the edge of the woods, and you don't see the path stop, but the woods seem to close over it. And you can't see why you would have a sort of road or a path there, because there doesn't seem to be a clearing for it to go anywhere. So as you're looking at it, you can see over towards the west, you can see another road, and you can see where that cuts into the forest, and the trees are parted, and there's a road going into the forest. But this road that goes out to the northeast seems to go into the forest, and the forest is just as dense as it is on either side of the road. And you have no idea why you would put a road there if you're not going to clear any of the forest for the road to go through. And it strikes you as unusual when you look at it. It's
Maybe people stop going on that way. Let it go.
There's houses out that way. Looking at it, it's a cobbled road. It looks like all the other roads that you walked along. It's just it's an extension of the road that you walked along to come here. It came through the town square, and then the roads went off out of the town square. This one appears to get to the edge of the woods, but the woods don't appear to allow it to go anywhere that you can see from this very good view from the top of this house.
Sounds like something to investigate.
Okay. We will leave it there because it's school tomorrow.
Yeah.
You haven't got school tomorrow because it's Aqua Fun Day.
Oh,
And Aqua Fun,
Rebranded Swimming Carnival.
they've rebranded the Swimming Carnival
Yes.
as Aqua
Yes,
Fun
they
Day.
How dare they?